Workout from home number 29 here at the 4 Bells Fitness Emporium. Today during our guts and butts cycle. I love that name. It is leg day here in the gym. We're going to do some focusing in our strength work on the posterior chain of the legs in particular. Well, it's part of the posterior chain. Which means we're going to be looking at hamstrings. And we're also going to be looking at the anterior aspect of the legs in the form of some unilateral or single leg squatting work in the form of pistols. But before we start with that, our warm-up today is meant to get us nice and primed and prepped for the strength piece to come. In our warm-up, we are doing some three-way lunges today. I'm going to show you how that sequencing is going to work, but we're going to do that three-step lunge twice per side. It'll make sense in just a second. From there, we'll get into our dead bugs today, some contralateral limb movements when on the floor in a hollow body position. We're going to show you guys how that should work as well. And last but not least, some low side stepping. It's Coach Ben's name for some hip abduction. I always get abduction and adduction confused. And working on glute activation. So let's talk about all of these three and how they can work. So in our warm-up, with the three-way lunge, it's very easy to get confused about which leg is the leg that is loaded, which is the leg that's getting some work. But all I would say is just focus on the leg that is moving. That's what we want to pay attention to. So as always, when I'm doing lunges, I want those feet pointing straight forward in train tracks. I never want to have them lined up where balance can be an issue. I'm going to step forwards, I'm going to pick a leg. So I'm going to start with my left leg. I'm going to step forwards, do a forward lunge with my left leg. I then step backwards with my left leg for a reverse lunge. And then I step across for a curtsy lunge and then come back up. That's that sequence on one side. I now repeat it on the other side. Right step comes forwards, right leg steps back, and then from there, right leg curtsy lunges. So of course, with the curtsy lunge, I'll probably say is the movement that can cause some knee discomfort if you have a lot of tight structures around the knee. So your knee doesn't have to touch the floor when you step across for the curtsy lunge, just go as far as you're comfortable. When it comes to the dead bug, excuse me, the dead bug incorporates that hollow hold position we've been working on a lot. So that means laying down. I'm going to press the lower back into the floor, and I'm going to stick the arms to the ceiling and legs to the ceiling, like I am the bug that is dead. The difficult part here is moving opposite hand and opposite foot. So I'm going to move opposite hand and opposite foot. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to do that 5 times per side for 10 reps total. That's what we're going to do with our dead bug. Always a little tough physical and mental warm-up, the dead bug for me. Last but not least, we're going to do some low side stepping, as Coach Ben likes to call it. If you've got a resistance band, use it. Step in. The band should be just above the knees. I'm going to take a nice broad squat stance, push the hips back, drive the knees out, feel that engagement through the glutes, and I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in one direction, and then go back from whence I came. Three-way lunge complex for 2 times per side. Dead bugs for 10 reps. Low side step in for 5 steps in one way, 5 steps in the other. We're doing that for 3 rounds. The strength piece for workout from home number 29 is focusing on 2 things. One of those is increasing hamstring strength, and the second is trying to improve strength and mobility in single legs during squatting mechanics. So we're doing 4 sets today. Normally we do 5, we're only doing 4 today because it's a fairly high amount of volume and they're all pretty tough movements. Each set is going to be 3 minutes long, and within that 3-minute window I have a superset of some kind of hamstring curl to look at and some kind of pistol. So if you happen to be lucky enough to have a partner who you train with, and some of the people at home do train with their partners all the time, you can do Nordic curls for 10 reps. So you might have a partner, but you could also use a barbell and a rack, but we'll talk about that in the video in a second. From there, if you don't have a partner or you don't have a barbell and a rack, it could be TRX or slider or like t-shirt on a sliding floor or banded or some kind of hamstring curl for 15 reps today. So as always, think about what you have available to you and then use that. If you're not sure what to do, you can always send me a message and I'm available to answer your questions. As soon as my hamstring work is done, we're going to get into some kind of pistol work today. So that could be, again, depending on what you have available, maybe I can sit back onto a box, maybe a step, maybe I can do a pistol standing on the floor, maybe I have a box available. If you've been in the gym before, you know there are a ton of different ways to scale a pistol, so make sure that it's challenging, but not so tough that every single rep feels like a 1 rep max. It should be challenging for 5 reps per leg. So let's spend a little bit of time talking about these exercises today. So if you happen to be lucky enough to train with a partner like I am today, hi, then you can use someone to help you do Nordic curls. Of course, you need someone putting some pressure on kind of like where your socks meet your calves, depending on how long your socks are. And the idea is this pressure here is going to keep me anchored in as I do my Nordic curl. Of course, if you don't have a partner to help you, you can also set a barbell up on the floor. So if you imagine where my partner is, put a barbell on the other side of the rack so you pull the bar into the rack, and that could also hold your feet down as well. So as always, with the Nordic curl, I'm trying to control the eccentric, the lowering phase. Keep my body nice and tight, I lean forwards, and then push back up off the floor. Control the way down, little push as possible with the arms. And that is the Nordic curl, and you can do that for 10 reps today. So hamstring curls of some kind. If you're using a TRX or some kind of strap as people use, some people took the rings off their ring straps and just used the straps from their rings to do these. Great idea. I'd never thought of that before, so fantastic work for people who did that last week. But either way, getting into this situation is not the most flattering thing. Lots of people messaging us last week saying how they're kind of flailing around trying to get their feet in there, and it can be difficult if you're training on your own. So make sure you practice getting your feet in and out of your TRX or whatever you're using. Either way, if I'm doing the curl, we saw some hilarious stuff last week. Lots of people humping the air and crazy business. We are going to start by just driving the elbows into the floor and bridging the hips up. So squeeze the glutes. From here, I then pull the heels into the bum, hamstring curl. Pull the heels in, straighten the legs out, still trying to keep the hips up. This is not a bend the leg and then try and make sweet tender love to the air. We're just trying to pull the heels into the butt. Now, can I get out with grace and ease? There's 1, there's 2, yes! So, now, if I don't have that available, but maybe I have a band, I can still do some kind of hamstring curl. So all I need is my band. I step 1 foot in, toes poke out. 1 foot in, toes poke out. From here, all I've got to do is roll over, the old switcheroo, and then keeping the toes flexed, I pull the heel into the bum, contract the hamstring, strengthen the legs, and repeat. So whatever kind of hamstring curl you are doing today is going to be for 15 reps. So the pistol squat today, tons of different variations of how you can scale your pistol squat depending on where you are in terms of your pistoling journey. So as we know, when it comes to pistol squats, there's a ton of factors that's going to affect your ability to do it. Number 1 is balance. Can I just stand on 1 foot whilst I'm trying to do anything? 2 is mobility. Do I have joints that move for a full range of motion? Because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to get right down to the very bottom of that squat. 3rd is strength. 4th is stability. As I said, there's a long list of things that need to be able to work in synergy together, so it's up to you to work out what is a challenging scaling option for you to do pistols. So some of the easiest ones to start off with is just starting by being in front of a box, or a step, or a stair, or a chair, and all I'm going to do is work standing on that working leg, reaching forward with the other foot, arms out in front for a little counterbalance. I sit down, control, and then drive back up. That's one way to do it. Sit back, stand back up. Another option could be with a post. We spoke about holding onto the door handles of a door. Either way, I'm just going to use this post to assist me as I come down. Maybe it's just helping a little bit. Maybe I'm feeding hand over hand. Either way, I'm going to use that to try and help me stand back up. Last but not least, when I have a post available, but I do have rings or a TRX, I can use this counter support from the rings or the TRX to help me as I come down into my pistol. Use the arms just as little as possible, and they can help me do my pistols. Either way, find a challenging scaling for you. It's going to be 5 on your weaker leg first, and then 5 on your stronger leg. Pistols. Today's conditioning piece is a 12-minute alternating EMOM. So if you know what EMOM means, which should really be emotum, I suppose, really should be a T in there as well. But really what that every minute on the minute stands for is I have some work to do at the top of the minute, and I'm trying to get it done as quickly as possible, making sure form is sexy, to maximize rest at the end of that minute. So in my first minute today, I'm going to do some tuck V-ups, approximately 20 reps. Of course, if 20 is too many for you, scale it back a little bit. Once I've done my first minute, where I've got 20 tuck V-ups to do, I then come into my next minute, where I'm going to do either 20 kettlebell swings or 15 tuck jumps. And in my third minute, I'm going to do a 30-second sprint of some kind. So with the tuck V-ups today, with all three stations, apart from obviously the 30-second sprint, is that work should be done in 45 seconds or less. I want to have at least 15 seconds to take a couple of breaths and move on to the next station. So make sure that if you find that for whatever reason the intensity is too high, the reps are too high, bring it down a little bit. Don't just chop it in half. Bring it down a few reps and see how well you can handle that volume and that intensity. So, with all of these in mind, we have a few things to think about. Tuck V-ups we're going to talk about on the mat in a second. Kettlebell swings or tuck jumps we're going to talk about in a second. But the most important one we can talk about is the 30-second sprint. So it's really going to depend on what you have available to you in your home. If you are lucky enough to have an airdyne bike, a rower or a skier, it's very easy to manage that 30 seconds. You should be able to see it on a display, and more importantly, you should be able to manage that pace. It should be fast. But if you're at home without that available, of course, if you're in one of our Zoom classes, I will tell you when 30 seconds is up, but you might need to take care of the clock in terms of can you see a stopwatch somewhere. And then think about what can I do? Is it sprinting as fast as possible on the spot? Is it using a rope and jumping rope? Or a thing we started last week, which I really enjoyed, air rope jumping, if you don't have a rope available. So again, think about what you can use to get a sprinty, intense aerobic piece for that 30 seconds. So, tuck V-ups, very straightforward. We don't need much, we just need a mat. So all I'm going to think about when I'm doing my tuck V-up is basically an ab exercise where I'm trying to turn myself into a little accordion. If I start at the top of I suppose the midpoint of a tuck V-up, what you would look like, and is very similar to what is known as boat pose in yoga. The shins parallel to the floor, I'm drawing my knees into the chest is nice and proud, and I'm reaching past the hands. Every rep should start with the heels on the floor, hands on the floor. I sit up, bring the knees into the chest as I reach forward with the hands. We're going to do that for 20 reps in our tuck V-up. From there into our next minute, it could be 20 kettlebell swings, where we're looking at an explosive hip hinging, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the quads, brace the abs, or it could be 15 tuck jumps. Remember, think about ceiling height, how much room do I have to jump around? And more importantly, when it comes to tuck jumps, is trying to take a short break in between each one. If you don't, what invariably happens is this. They get lower and lower as time goes on. Ideally, I want to jump high, pause, and repeat. Last but not least, of course, is our sprint, rower, bike, skipping, air skipping, whatever you have available. It should be fast and just for 30 seconds. The extra sauce today is 4 minutes long. 4 rounds of 30 seconds of work, followed by 30 seconds of rest. In my 30 seconds of work, I'm going to be doing lunges of any kind. So that could be forward lunges, could be backward stepping lunges, and I'm just going to lunge for 30 seconds. Once the 30 seconds is up, during my rest period, I'm going to perform a squat hold, a static squat hold, and we're going to repeat that for 3 more times for 4 total rounds today. So, in an ideal world, when we are doing our lunges, I would like to see you do forward lunges today. That's the aim of the game, try and get a little bit more work for the glutes and the quadricep. But for some people, forward lunges are uncomfortable, so of course, play around with what works best for you. Could be step-ups, could be reverse lunges, whatever it is, some kind of single limb squatting position as we go through our finish of the day. So it could be just doing alternating lunges in place, trying to move consistently for 30 seconds. And when my 30 seconds is up, I'm going to get into a squat hold. So as you can see, I've got this little ball here. Why is this ball here? And it's for my personal accountability. I want to make sure that when I'm in my squat hold, that my thighs should be parallel to the floor, and I can feel that I am just about skimming the ball, gently teabagging the ball, if you will. From here, I want to make sure that I'm not relaxing. I mean, like, oh, this is nice and comfortable, just relaxing on the ball. And it also makes me remember to not be too high and have my hips high and my chest low, convincing myself that I'm in a squat hold. Thighs should be parallel to the floor. I'm going to hang out here for 30 seconds before I stand up and then repeat lunges again. And that is our extra sauce today.